love the way
So
she
back,
put the
so back, so
so
back,
back.
so back, so
So
back, so back. So
back.
yeah. So let's see. So we're back and we have oh god, we got Black History Month celebration. Let her smile. She got the little pearls going on. You got Janie Blackwell, Senator Hughes, Sharif, Joanna
But
McClinton, Jordan Harris. But the most important person of it all is Novita Johnson Harrell.
Me.
Yeah,
and
her.
Philly Hot
Yeah,
Radio. If
her.
you from Philly,
Yeah,
you can't
yeah.
be from Philly. And this is Philly Hot Radio.
It's
You
hot.
can't be from Philly and not know Sister Movita. First of all, it's good seeing you
It
again.
is so good to see you, my friend. It
And
is so good to see
I
you.
always said you and your husband's the best thing that ever happened in West Philadelphia.
I
Oh,
thought you was gonna say since sliced bread.
since
Yeah, but that would have been corny, and I ain't corny.
Uh, I used to hear it so much. I never really paid. Yeah, it is because before you had to break it up and be all, now it's just now it's already sliced. But she's beats. Never mind.
we digress.
We digress significantly.
You
Yes,
ain't never
we
been
do.
on Philly Hot Radio. You gotta come on. It's a fun place to be.
You heard that from Sister Movita herself. Sister Movita, look, you're running
Yeah.
for. We know you're in a community. You're an advocate. You're an
Yes.
activist. You've been doing some very wonderful things in the community, and now you have the nomination, the Democratic nod for the 190th legislative district.
Can I just say
I
one thing?
do.
I used to always walk through City Hall courtyard. I have no idea who this lady is. I lied to you not. But I would see her engaging other people with that smile. And I'm like, oh, wow. And she makes you like draw to her. So literally, I don't know if she remember, but I was seeing Pat. She's like, how you doing? And then it was just from that moment on, every time I seen her again, it was like, I don't know if she just was just naturally like that or she remembered me, but it was like I remembered her. So I was speaking. She's like, hey, how you doing? And I'm like, okay. But it was pleasant to see that. And, in my mind, again, I'm not sure if she, remembered me. It was just her natural demeanor. But I noticed how she was interacting with those around her. And I would watch, how people would just walk by and she would just smirk or smile. And I was like, wow, I like that. And he'd find out we wound up connecting in the same group. Boy, that smile, boy.
And I did remember you.
Oh, I really wasn't sure, but I just knew you just had that thing about you, that it about you that, and I would watch people, even though I was walking real fast, in a split second you could still see, like you see that, and it was like, wow, I like that. You know?
And first, let me apologize for you said you remember her, and so I'm just going to apologize for the trauma.
What? Now you know that ain't
That we
right.
may have impacted on you. We will try to do better. But look, it's a pleasure. And like I was saying, now you have the Democratic nod. You're running for a
Yes.
state representative. What would you like to tell the people about this campaign?
I actually was not going to run this time,
Mhm.
and I was at the district attorney's office doing wonderful work. District Attorney Larry Krasner had selected me to be his supervisor for victim and witnesses services and restorative justice. And he gave me the ability to be free with the work that I was doing, and I was able to do really wonderful work. I even created the Philadelphia Cares model while I was still at the Charles Foundation, and that model was approved for $1.6 million. And I was able to bring that model over to the DA's office, which created 15 additional jobs.
Right.
So I had made a decision, when I realized that someone else would probably be selected to run as the Democratic nominee, I made a decision to stay where I was because I was doing amazing work. I was working on parole eligibility with Senator Sharif Street, and I just figured, why quit my job on a what if? And I sent up a prayer and I said, God, if this is my seat, I'm not going to have to quit this job to get it. And then I began to get comfortable in that seat. And about a week later, my phone rang on a Friday afternoon at 3 o'clock. And it was someone from the Democratic Party and said that we are considering selecting you as our nominee for the 190th seat. Are you interested? And I said, absolutely. And I immediately quit my job with the DA's office and prepared myself to embark on this journey.
Now, anyone who knows anything about campaigns, especially in Philadelphia, it's no easy task. You left a job where you were doing things you were passionate about.
Mhm.
And as long as I've known you, you've been doing that work out there. And so now you left the Larry Krasner's office to pursue this.
Yes.
How do you think that will impact your future activities as an activist, an advocate, and anti-crime camp organizer?
You know, no one's asked me that question. That's a wonderful question because guess what it does? It gives me an even larger platform, right? To be an advocate and an activist and a person in the community that continues to empower those and that fights for marginalized and disenfranchised communities. So, you know, I ran in 2016 and I ran, initially I didn't even want to win. I ran because I wanted all of the politicians in that cycle of racing, talking about the issues that mattered most to us, right? Talking about safe communities, talking about improving education, talking about economic development and community reinvestment. And because I was in that race and I was pushing those issues, everybody else began to talk about those issues.
You changed the
right?
conversation.
I changed the conversation. So now I'm in a position where I have the party's endorsement and I can go to Harrisburg and do a lot of good work. So here's the thing, there's 2 independents in my race and nothing against those 2 independents, but they don't have my experience with working with Harrisburg already. I will not be a typical freshman going to Harrisburg. I went up to the caucus about 2 weeks ago. I knew half of the people in the caucus and they're excited about me coming because they know my voice cannot be ignored.
Right, and that's another thing because you started this out. You got skin in the game.
Yes.
You got skin in the game, as they say. So how do you think? You know, out of all the issues, and I know what your issue is, your especially with the gun violence and the community. How do you think, as state rep, you will be able to go out there and push that agenda forward? And get some things changed in our communities as a result.
So as a founder of the Charles Foundation, I've been able to help push gun legislation. I've been able to help push the conversation about safe communities. I've even had an opportunity to sway Republicans to vote pro-gun safety legislation.
Oh, we got to talk about that.
So I think that I have a unique perspective, right? Because I've been exposed to gun violence my whole life. For anybody listening who doesn't know, just to give them a brief overview, like I lost my father in 1975. He was killed in front of me and my family. Years later, 1991, I lost my older brother. He was murdered over a girl. And then in 2011, my 18-year-old son, Charles Andre Johnson, was murdered in a case of mistaken identity. And then on top of that, on January 1st, 2013, my younger cousin, who was like my 5th child in my house, was murdered being a peacemaker at a party. Wow. So I've been exposed to this in such a way that someone else, it may have broken them, but I just feel like divine intervention, God stepped in to use my voice to kind of help fix this problem, right? So is it going to be easy going up to Harrisburg trying to change these things? I don't assume that it will, but guess what? Ain't nothing in my life ever been easy.
Right, and with all of that trauma and death, what can be done? I mean, I'm looking at the news, looking at and listening to the news, and it seemed like the violence is are affecting the victims are younger and younger, and the perpetrators are younger and younger, and the crimes are more heinous. What can we do?
So we have 2 issues that are occurring. Number one, we have too many illegal guns on the streets, right?
Definitely.
So we need to crack down on straw purchases. We need to give mandatory sentences to people that straw purchases are traced back to. Something that DA Larry Krasner recently done, he actually decided to pursue the lost and stolen gun, meaning when people's guns are misplaced or stolen, that they have to report those losses within 24 hours. Otherwise, they are prosecuted. We know the guns get into our communities by straw purchases. What's a straw purchase? A lot of people don't realize what it is. It's technically a girl and a guy goes into a gun shop, a guy picks out 10, 20 guns, the girl signs the background check, they pay for the guns, they leave out, put all the guns in the guy's trunk, and he pays the girl a fee, right? And then those guns end up in our community in people's hands who shouldn't have them. We need to crack down on those straw purchases. We also need to crack down on those gun shops that are allowing those straw purchases to occur. Because one thing, as executive director of Heating God's Call to End Gun Violence, we have requested responsible gun shop owners to put cameras in their stores to record those sales, but they won't do it. You know why? Because they know that those guns will be sold in the community illegally. We need to cripple the NRA. The NRA is so strong; it has a stronghold on the White House. It literally paid for a seat in the White House. We need to cripple the NRA. We need to take their power away. A lot of people say, well, how can you do that? Well, this is not a Second Amendment fight. That's their argument. You're trying to take our guns away, our legal guns. Guess what? I'm licensed to carry. This is not an argument about legal guns. This is an argument about keeping guns out of the hands of people who should not have them. And even on top of that, what about the Constitution? Don't all our children have a right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness?
Wow. So you heard it here. Look, she did not stutter, stall, or stop at. She had.
Been my life.
This has been your life, right?
So this ain't no show. This ain't just because it's a special election. It's like I'm in meetings with people who are running and they're reading their phones for notes, and I'm like, are you kidding me?
And I think that's one of the things, one of the forces. Like anyone who didn't take your candidacy serious, and I think anybody in Philadelphia who heard your name would take it serious. They were like, oh, wow. You know, if they were thinking of running against you, they'd be like, oh, wow, that's going to be a tough one. But they know one of the things, the other force, the other factor is they know you're passionate. They know you really, you're not the typical politician. You're not the person who have the sound bites. As you can tell when you just read it off. When I interview people, I always get the sound bites. I get the same answers, but you can tell when you interview on somebody genuine because it comes right out and it comes from the soul, not from the phone. you know. So, what would you like people to know about you that they don't know, that they're not typically going to read in the paper? You know, something that if you had a chance, you say, I just wish everyone would know such and such a thing.
That's a great question too, because for me, pretty much my life has been an open book, right? I would like people to know that I can relate to what's going on in the 190th. I come from public assistance and welfare. I come from public housing. I'm what you call a late bloomer. I got my high school diploma at 28 years old with 4 children. I pursued school. I spent the next 7 years full-time in school and graduated from the University of Pennsylvania in 2004 with 5 degrees. I created my own business. So I know what it's like to be poor. I know what it's like to be hungry. I know what it's like to be desperate. I know what it's like to be hopeless. But I also know what it's like to be hopeful. I know what it's like to be encouraged. I know what it's like to be obedient. And I know what it's like to be thorough. All of that, the 190th will get. And the difference between me and the other 2, or rather 3 people in this race, is I don't need a job. I've been very, very successful. I made $110,000 at the DA's office. A state rep seat is a pay cut for me. I'm not doing this because I need a job. I'm doing this because I need for Philadelphia to be safe. I need for our children to have better schools. I need for us to create economic development in our communities. We're talking about taking guns from boys. What are we giving them instead? We're going to give them something, Nate.
I agree.
So I'm in this because I care about our community, because I got 3 grandsons and a granddaughter now since my son was murdered. That first kid that was born 26 days after my son died, and that's his only child. And I'm raising him. And all of our children deserve better than what they're getting.
And you mentioned there are 2 others in the race, actually 3. But I actually interviewed the other 2. Because whenever you interview one, you got to interview the other. So now I got to interview the third that I didn't interview. So I'm working on that. But one of them, the former state rep, Vanessa L. Brown, has endorsed. She's come out for him. How would you hold your office differently than she did? I mean, how would your position as state rep differ from hers?
So something that I've already suggested to the leadership in the 190th is that we have regular meetings, with the constituents going around the district to different churches, holding meetings, because I'm only as smart as what's in my own brain, right? I need to hear from the community what they want in that district. It's my, so something, and I'm not going to talk about the past representation of this district. I'm going to talk about what I would like to see for this district, right? So I don't think, as a citizen, as a resident, as a constituent of the 190th, that I have been properly represented in Harrisburg. So I think one thing that we are responsible to do when we take public office, and I want to be very, very clear, I don't consider myself a politician. I'm a social worker, right? But what we have to do is we have to listen to the people that we are supposed to be representing. We have to include them in the conversation, and we have to be accountable to them. We have to be accountable to them, because they are the reason why you get a paycheck. They are the reason why you were elected. They are the reason why you sit in a seat in Harrisburg. So to be accountable to them means to be present. It don't mean just throwing a barbecue in the summertime and appeasing people and calling it a day. It means including them in those hard conversations, asking them what they want to see in that district, providing them with solutions to the problems.
I like what you said. You're not a politician. You're a social worker. Oh, that's a sound. Look, we got to write that down. That's an article. That's an article.
Is that still in if we tell them that we're gonna be?
No, we just got to make sure
Y'all
we credit the
borrow it.
source.
Okay.
Yeah, we got to make sure we credit it.
See,
Like, we can't say it's come from us.
but y'all my peoples.
Yeah, we.
So
Okay.
y'all can borrow it.
We
'Cause
can
y'all
borrow.
my peoples.
Thank you very much. You heard it right here, Philly Hot Radio. We can borrow that. She's not a politician. She's a social worker. And anybody who know you know that anyway.
Yes.
So we're not telling them anything new. What are the people saying? You're a resident there. You live there. You pounded those streets, and now you're talking to them in a different capacity. What are they saying to you about the community? And we know about the crime part.
Right.
So we don't have to mention that again, especially in the West Philadelphia area. But what else are they saying? What are they saying? They saying, Sister Movita, we need somebody to do that. What are they saying?
Yeah. So well, you know, I opened a community resource center. You were there.
Yeah. Oh,
in
yes,
West Philly.
I did.
I opened a community resource center, and I've done summer programs where we have paid young people to come and participate in the Be the Change program. We do a summer reading program. We have a community food cupboard. But one thing that I think people are appreciating about me is they've seen my work at the Charles Foundation, and they've seen my work at the DA's office, and they think that it has all been focused around gun violence, right? But it has not. So my interpretation of the problem of community violence and gun violence is that it's so much bigger than the gun, right? So we talk about education. Our children are not properly educated. We have a failing infrastructure. We have a crumbling infrastructure. We have overcrowding. We have the inability to provide books when we need to move into the 21st century, and our kids should be working on learning boards and working with new technology, but we don't provide that resource, right? So we talk about violence. This is all interconnected. So we need to make sure that our kids are properly educated, that we're giving them the support that we need, even that we're giving the parents the support that they need to help their children get through school, right? Then on top of that, we need to support the parents and other people in the community. The 190th district is a promise zone. It's the largest promise zone in the city. We can get federal dollars and state dollars to come into the promise zone to create opportunity for the people that live there. Not moving them out through gentrification, but for the community that lives there. We can provide jobs, we can do training, and then the reality is we talk about rehabilitation. Well, for a lot of these young men, they've never been habilitated in the first place. So guess what? We need to teach life skills courses. We need to train them on conflict resolution. And all of this is realistic. It's not like some pie in the sky because I have a 52nd Street business corridor. I have a Market Street business corridor. I have a Lancaster Avenue business corridor. I have part of Ridge Avenue in East Falls. There is opportunity. This district is ripe for the right person with the right relationships and the right mindset to come in and rejuvenate it.
And I've interviewed a few people, and while I was doing our story for the, I believe it was the University City Review. Sometimes I work for so many people on papers, I forget which which one I wrote it
How
for.
many jobs you got?
Way too many, and I ain't getting paid a lick. Hire me. But anyway,
I know that's right.
But anyway, so I think several people I interviewed in your article, they said the same thing.
Yeah.
You'll be ready on day one. That's one thing that
They said they'll be ready on day one,
that you don't have to go through a whole bunch of training and preparing, and you will be ready on day one to go to Harrisburg and do what's right. What do you say about that?
I say that's absolutely correct, because I already have relationships, because I've been up there raising Cain for many, many years. I already have people's attention, and I can't be outworked.
Right.
I can't. My work ethic is amazing, so I'm going to be up there, and then I'm joining champions that are already up there doing work. Joanna McClinton and State Representative. She's amazing.
I just love her to death. I'm not in years of doing this, and before I did it, I was an activist at first, so I really wasn't down with politicians. And then as a journalist, I saw more than I said, so I really wasn't down with politicians. But Joanna McClinton is one person I can say.
She's amazing.
She's genuine, and you are someone I can say was really genuine. Like it will change what you think you know about politicians. But I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
Oh no, I was just talking about the champions already up there doing the work. State Representative Jordan Harris, who is now the whip. Jason Dawkins. I mean, there are some amazing people up here doing amazing work. Some of my Emerge sisters are up there. Mary Jo Daly and Tina Davis. And I know all of these people. I've done work with all of these people. So I'm really excited. State Senator Sharif Street, who is doing amazing work in parole eligibility and criminal justice reform. So I welcome the opportunity to go up to Harrisburg and to work with them to make a lot of this stuff a reality.
What do you think the impediments are going to be? I mean, because what you're saying, like, if you were to ask people and itemize the things that you want, your vision for the community, the things that you say you want to fight for on your platform, everybody, Democrat and Republicans, would say yes.
Right.
But then when you get up there and you start legislating things, then the obstacles come. And what are your plans to deal with some of that background obstacles and impediments that they're going to put in the way?
So I think two of the biggest issues that I'm going to have to incur is negotiations, right? Because that's what it's about. It's about It's about making friends and being able to negotiate. And some people you can't make friends with, but that's the second part to it, is that we have partners in the West who don't understand what it's like to live in Philadelphia and who don't care to understand what it's like to live in Philadelphia. And that's one of the reasons, Nathaniel, that I think that my voice is so crucial up in Harrisburg, because they have not heard my story on the State House floor, right? They have not had this representation as a state representative, as a peer. So I believe there are going to be assumptions made about me just from sight. But the one thing that has happened, I've experienced that before, and when people get to know me, it's a whole different story. So I think some of those people who have been the most difficult to work with, I can become friends with. I can at least become a good colleague with, and we can get some work done together. Are there going to be difficulties and challenges? Absolutely. And I welcome those too, because that's how we get the work done.
What's next on your campaign trail? I know you have some campaign stops. Anything you want to tell us about?
I do. So this Saturday, February 23rd, we have a meet and greet with Movida at 431 South 60th Street. That is from noon to 2. And then on Monday, and I haven't had a fundraiser yet, so this will be my first fundraiser. On Tuesday, January 26th, we have a fundraiser, the Philly Dems fundraiser at La Colonne in Fishtown, 1335 Frankfurt Avenue. That's from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Then we have a fundraiser the next one. So on February 28th, and I would love for you to come out to that, is going to be a Town Hall Black History Month at Bible Way Baptist Church. It is the 1300 block of North 52nd Street. We have invited guests are going to be Larry Krasner and Joanna McClinton, Senator Sharif Street, State Representative Jordan Harris. So it's really going to be interesting. We even have Congressman Bob Brady coming.
Oh gosh, I had him before.
Right? So those are the big ones. And then on Wednesday, March 5th, I believe it is, we have a criminal justice reformers fundraiser at 6 p.m. at 1800 JFK.
Well, you got a lot going on.
And a little bit of time. Remember, I'm late to the race. So the other people have like 2 months head start on me. I had to jump in with both feet.
Right, but the good thing about all of that is you were already in there swimming.
Yes.
It was a different capacity, but you was already in there
Yeah.
swimming, so people know your name. Anything else you'd like to tell our listeners or our social media viewers?
Absolutely. I would just like to encourage everybody to get involved in the process. You know, if we want to change our communities, it's going to take each and every one of us. And I know a lot of people are really disappointed in Philly politics and disappointed in the Democratic Party. But guess what? We can't change it if we don't get involved. You know, run to be a block captain, become a committee person, become a ward person. Look at me, I'm an everyday person. I'm running for state representative. I've never held a political office before. But you know what? I think because of my experience and because of my vision, I could be a great state representative for the 190th district. And I do want to let people know that I am the only Democrat on the ballot. People are going around saying that they are Democrats. They are not. There is one Democrat on the ballot for the 190th legislative race on March 12th, and I am it.
And I know I know I was closing down, but I gotta ask you this question because you just brought it up into my head. A lot of people are disenchanted with politics, both Republican and Democrat. But since this is a Democratic city, heavily Democratic city, they're really disappointed because they say we've had elected officials, especially black elected officials, black mayors.
Yeah.
And our communities remain the same. What would you say to inspire people to once again give it another try? You know.
So here's the thing. One thing that I have brought to the city this election cycle is hope, right? And that's something President Obama was able to do for us. He was able to give us hope. He was able to give us hope for a future, for change. And here's the thing. When I'm elected to this office, because I'm claiming it, when I'm elected on March 12th, I want everybody else to come in with me. I want to encourage people to participate in the process. We can change the status quo. I can't do it by myself, but people have to get courage and run. It takes a lot to run. You become attacked by the media. You become a focal point. But guess what? When we're talking about protecting our communities and protecting our children and improving our education and economics, if we don't do it, who will?
Sister Movina, you said it best when you I appreciate that. Look, again, I know I said it about 4,999 times. We're going to make that an even 5,000. It's good to see you again.
It's good to see you too.
And look, you know, you and your family, y'all precious to me. So one more time, Bible Way Baptist Church, 1352 North 52nd Street. That's on Thursday, February 28th. Let me say that one more time for the people who didn't have any pens or pencils near them. That's Bible Way Baptist Church, 1352 North 52nd Street. Thursday, February 28th. That's around the corner, y'all. That's next week. You want to be there because they're having a Black History Month celebration as well. And the invited guests for that night are going to be Councilwoman Janie Blackwell, Senator Vincent J. Hughes, everybody know Senator Cherie Street, and State Rep. Joanna McClinton, State Rep. Jordan Harris. These are the power hitters, the people you see in your community all the time. There's no invisible elected officials on that list. They're all out in the community regularly. So I hope that people show up and follow you on social media and come to these events and
vote for me.
Oh, please don't.
More importantly,
if we said all of that and y'all didn't vote, and let me say this, I'm going to echo what Sister Molita said. You know, I, like you, I vote every election. There's no big or small election for me. I always vote, but I'll be honest with you. I can't vote in Philadelphia. You know, I'm in Delaware County.
Aww.
But you know, I walk away feeling like I had to choose for the last 4 or 5 elections, I had to choose between two evils. You know, and the choosing between two evils is still evil.
Yeah.
You know, so but in your election, if I was in Philadelphia and I was able to really vote, I would feel good about my vote. And I'm saying it to say this: for people who feel disenchanted, people who feel disgruntled, I think you should, but use that as fuel. You know, don't use that as a reason to quit. Use the fact that you don't like what you see in politics. As Sister Movita said, to get involved, to fuel it. Say, I don't like this. I'm going to do something about it. This is an opportunity for you to do something about it. So you know what to do. I'm not going to tell you who to vote for because then they can get me. But I'm going to tell you. I know what I would do. I know what I would do.
Vote for the lady.
I'm not gonna say vote for Sister Movita. You know.
Yeah, we're not going to tell you come out and vote for Movita. We're not going to tell you to vote for. I would never tell you to go out and pull the lever to vote for Sister Movita. I would never tell you to do that. I don't even know how to spell Movita's name. I couldn't even help you. Yeah, you heard it. Yeah, because I would have spelled it Movita, but
I
you know,
am a respected member of the press. Yes. I do not make endorsements, but your Sister Movita.
What a lady.
That's all I'm saying. Sister Movita will be on.
Just saying.
I'm on the ballot, y'all.
She's on the ballot. Do your thing. You know what to do. Philly Hott Radio, thank you very much, Sister Movita. Thank you very much.
You so
I wish
much.
we could keep you here forever.
It's so good to see both of you.
Thank you again. Philly Hott Radio, we're going to play something for you and while we wait for our next guest. And you know what to do. We just had an interesting conversation. Don't let it die here. Take this conversation out in the community and have it with your friends, have it with your families. And if you're not sure, turn out to some of these events and hear her herself. You know, once you meet her, you'll know what to do.
Yeah,
All right, Philly Hott Radio, we got some music for you. Stay